personnel committee.
Okay, the personnel committee will come to order, but we just did roll call. Number 3, receive personnel updates and workforce dashboard. Ms. Miranda Watson, HR supervisor.
Good evening, everybody. We're gonna, the personal report is pretty lengthy, but there's a lot of things you have to do for the, at the end of the year. Some positions by policy have to be listed as vacant, and you'll see that noted on, as you get down to the non-certified personnel. But you'll see we've already started hiring and preparing for the next school year with our new hires at the top. We do have to declare critical shortage every year, so these employees listed here will go before critical shortage again for the 24-25 school year. We have transfers of positions so that we can fill vacancies and make sure the services are provided as needed. Then you look down, you see the non-certified personnel. However, we have to post those as vacancies, but you see that they are, some of them are eligible to be rehired should they apply.
Hello?
And then at the bottom of the
Can you hear me?
report, you'll see we had
Okay.
6 terminations at the end of the school year. And below, you'll see the vacancies that we're actually hiring and preparing for the next school year. Do y'all have any questions about the personnel report?
I guess what I really want to visually see, I know I've looked at the rosters for each school, and I see a lot of vacancies in those spots.
Yes, ma'am.
With these people that you have here, are they in place on that list?
Which
Or they're
ones, the
not?
ones you're looking at the
These
non-certified?
non-certified?
Yes, ma'am, they're in place, but it's just pending them applying, because they have to go through this process.
Right,
every
right,
year
right,
for our policy. Yes, ma'am.
And you still have those vacancies?
Yes, ma'am. The actual vacancies is noted on the back. The actual ones that we're actually hiring for.
6. When I looked at that, I know I saw 2 at Shada is showing, ELC, and it's showing 3 here. 6.
Yes, ma'am, it is. It's actually 3. But when you look at it, some of them I had highlighted because we were expecting another person to come back under critical shortage.
Mhm.
She hadn't confirmed yet, so
Okay.
I posted it for,
And then at the College and Career Academy.
yes, ma'am.
I saw like 12, and it's only showing 6 here.
It's 2 ELAs, 2 math, it adds up like that. So I listed them, I didn't list them by the subjects that we're hiring for. The middle school, you have 7th and 8th grade, ELA.
So it's only 6 shortages, what you're telling me?
No, I'm not telling you it's 6
Okay,
shortages.
6 position at the high school that need to be filled.
It's not 6, no ma'am.
It's more than 6.
Yes, yes. Middle school ELA teachers, yes ma'am, we are hiring for, I should have put an S, probably S on my teachers. And that'll probably make it simplified. Yeah. But next time I'll make note of it so that it can be a little bit more clear and you can understand it better.
So
It'll-
total at the high school is 12
Yes,
positions.
yes ma'am.
I wasn't, when I talked to you earlier, with all the non-certified, they come back, so that's what we heard, and, down.
On your non-certified teachers, sped, Miss Watson, Miss Jackie Bush is non-certified? Miss Jackie Bush is non-certified, or she a certified teacher?
We can't discuss personnel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes ma'am. But if you, but yes ma'am.
Have y'all been interviewing anybody? I mean, I know we've been gone,
Mhm.
but any interviews, no leads, no bites, no anything? I mean,
Yes, they have been interviewing for position. That's why we have somebody at the top they're recommending for hire. We are going to set up assistant principal interviews next week.
yeah, because planning needs to take place now. And I'm just gonna say, this is why we
That's all.
get caught off guard with certain things. Planning's supposed to be taking place right now.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I'm concerned. I'm being honest
Mhm.
because we need to be on it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm concerned.
So
You're
just
not
for
the only
clarity,
one.
at the end of every school year, what we have to do is post positions that are filled by non-certified employees.
I understand
Okay,
that.
so, but we do know that those employees, if we cannot fill those vacancies,
Right.
then those employees go right back into those positions. That is just a standard practice that we do at the end of every school year. We are 3 weeks past, the end of the school year, and we have done our staffing. We uploaded all of the vacancies that we have, in our portal, and now we are starting to do, interviews for people who do apply. So we have been getting some people who've been applying, and as we get them, the principals do the interviews. And so that's the process that we're in right now.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay. Approve administrative contract for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026.
So we have the administrative contracts that we're going to be doing for beginning July 1, 2024. I have a copy of all the contracts with me. I didn't make copies of all the contracts. However, I did list them on a one-pager, and they are in your in the turquoise folder that you have. Just a little.
And these are 2-year contracts for them.
Except for one. And I do have an actual copy of the contracts with me, if you need
I
those.
want to see it, yeah.
You want to see?
Yeah, I want a copy of it. Take a look at that.
You want a copy, you want to look at these?
Yeah, can I get a copy of it
Yeah.
then?
Yes.
We have a principal for the Early Learning Center?
For which one, baby?
Early Learning Center, principal.
Really nice.
For the principalship at the early learning center, you said, right now, there's a, conversation should be had to see if one
Mhm.
person's gonna stay in that spot or not.
Mhm.
So we hadn't posted for that position yet,
Gotcha.
until we get clarity on that. They did have to vote on this one? The contract?
Mm-mm.
All right. Any other questions?
Okay, this concludes the Personnel Committee.
Budget and Finance Committee?
No? Virginia?
Budget and Finance Committee comes to order. Roll call.
Ms. LaGinger Bell, Ms. Linda Cheney,
Present.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Present.
Dr. Kelly Joseph,
Here.
Ms. Ashley Castle, Ms. Tracy Womack,
Feeling for that.
She on there?
She says yes.
Come on, I'll go ahead. I'll do it.
I did say present.
Oh. Go ahead, Bill. Either.
Now, item number 3, receive and consider for approval 2023-24 operating budget amendments.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Lazarone. I work with Tommy Lejeune, who I believe you all have met. In regards to some of the budget discussions, he's out of town, so asked me to come on his behalf tonight. We do have the final budget in front of you in the bound copy with the black and yellow cover. I've got a summary in there as well, so if you flip open to the inside cover, you'll see a summary page. I believe this is for discussion purposes and potentially public comment in this committee meeting, and then a consideration to adopt it in your full board meeting later tonight. So this is substantially the same draft that you've seen in the past. I do kind of want to hit on a couple of highlights. Number one, first, the 23-24 budget amendments that you have in front of you. So essentially what we've done is proposed budget amendments for the fiscal year ending June 30th of this year, just to be in line with where you've historically been. We were in budget adoption. Some of the line items were budgeted at a very high level in total. We've gone through based on some prior year actual data and conversations with your internal staff and reallocated some of those amounts to the individual line items that they apply to. But a couple of just kind of at a high level, where we're projecting you to finish for this fiscal year in your general fund is total revenues of just under 10.4 million, 10,371,000 to be exact, and total expenses of 9,700,000 for an approximate surplus of around 600,000 for fiscal year ending 2024. Again, you're all but 2 weeks through this fiscal year, so in actuality, it's really a reflection of what has already happened. But it was useful to finalize the 2023 information and then use that in developing these 2024 budget amendments, as well as your fiscal 2025 budget that we'll go over in a little bit. As far as any significant adjustments for fiscal year 2024 compared to what you had originally budgeted, and I'm focusing on the general fund summary there on page 6 of your packet. Essentially, really what you see from a revenue standpoint, original adopted revenues of 10,982,000, proposed amendment downwards of about 1.2 million to actual of 9.8 million. This was simply an oversight in the budget process where some property taxes that were already budgeted in a special revenue fund and belong in a special revenue fund were also budgeted in the general fund. Additionally, from an expenditure standpoint, you can see a total increase in expenditures of 221,000, taking you from an original budget of 9.3 million to a final budget of 9.6 million. And then essentially what you have is an operating surplus of 250,000. You've received indirect cost in your general fund of a little over $500,000. A lot of that is related to COVID funding, which will be going away in your next fiscal year. And then transfers out to your charter school of 136,000 leaves you that surplus for fiscal year 24 of about 670,000 that I've referenced earlier. So again, it's really a reflection of what's actually happened throughout the year. You can see there are some adjustments in the individual line items, but like I said, that's really more just getting a high-level summary budget more into the actual key punch codes that align with your AFR reporting to the Department of Education. So all in all, nothing really substantial there from my perspective, but I'm happy to take any questions on the 24 budget amendments, and I will answer them certainly to the best of my ability based on my limited experience working with you all and some of my conversations with Tommy before he left. Okay, if no questions, I will go into the fiscal year 2025 budget, I think is the next discussion item, if I'm not mistaken. really I want to focus on the talking points there on the cover page, the separate handout on the inside of your cover. Really just some significant changes from fiscal '24. COVID funding is now essentially all wrapped up through fiscal '24. That was a total of $6.2 million in the prior fiscal year, with indirect cost into your general fund of about $410,000. And we'll talk later about how that affects your general fund budget for this next year. We are budgeting a slight decrease in MFP funding for the next fiscal year to be more in line with where we expect you to finish in the current fiscal year. And also, there were one-time stipends that were funded through the MFP formula in 2024, and 2025 funding at this point is still uncertainty. So both the revenues associated with those stipends and the expenditures related to them are not in this budget as of now. From another significant revenue standpoint, both ad valorem and sales tax, we are budgeting to remain consistent with where they were this fiscal year. And at the end of the day, that leaves you with $17.5 million in total revenues and about $18.2 million in total expenses, leaving you across all funds. And if you look at the breakout there, you can see 76% of which is all in instructional and support services, which is certainly a good benchmark to have. From a general fund standpoint, again, if you look at page 6, the general fund summary, where we just looked at the 2024 amendments, in the second column from the far right-hand side, we have the proposed 2025 amounts. For a general fund in 2025, operationally, we're projecting total revenues of just under $9.5 million, operating expenditures of just under $9.3 million, for an operating surplus of just under $200,000 for the year. One of the things you'll see is that if you move down into the other financing sources and uses, number one, a decrease in the transfers and indirect costs. That's due to the fact that you're no longer going to have those additional federal COVID funds. That's going to reduce your general fund indirect transfers. Consistent transfers out for charter school, and then transfers to capital projects funds of $1.35 million, leaving you in excess or expenditures in excess of revenues for the year in the general fund of $1.165 million. But again, I want to emphasize that really the operating surplus is kind of what we look at, that are you operating at break even or at a small surplus? And that's certainly the case. The only thing that is driving that is the capital outlay spending of $1.35 million. I believe the previous version you saw was $800,000. That has been increased due to some additional facility needs that have been identified. The other thing worth noting is that, you know, over the last 3 to 4 years, when you did have those federal funds, the COVID federal funds that got, and the general fund received the admin or the indirect on that, it was just under $1 million over the last 3 years. So that's really going to fund most of this capital outlay that you have in the budget. From a fund balance standpoint, things still look really good. You can see we're projecting, even after all of this, a projected fund balance at the end of the year of $6.7 million. You know, on an operating budget of 9.2, the sort of Department of Ed benchmark would be 10% of that, or let's call it $1 million, and you're projecting to finish at 6.7. So very healthy from a fund balance perspective, and in our opinion, very much a well-balanced budget from an operational standpoint, but then enough funds there to do some of the investments that you want to do. And that's really the highlights. Again, I know y'all maybe had some more detailed conversations about this in previous meetings, but that's kind of the highlights and the changes from the last version you saw, and happy to answer any other questions that anybody has. And the rest of the bound packet there is for your information, and it has every fund that you control, including all of your special revenue funds, line item by line item. But most of those are the grant funds that are reimbursement based and break even throughout the year. So those aren't driving a significant surplus or deficit position.
Any questions? That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4, receive and consider So,
Approve it.
That's approved.
I so move.
I second it.
it's been moved by Ms. Linda Cheney Scales and second by Ms. Joyce Porter.
Ms. Ginger Bell, Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion. With Cheney and Bell.
I took Miss Bell's spot.
Yeah, she took this next spot. Ms. Joyce Porter. No, Ms. Joyce Porter took this next spot.
Ms. Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter, yes. 3-0 motion carried, refer to the full board to vote.
Item 4, receive and consider for approval request to purchase new furniture for St. Helena Early Learning Center.
Yes, committee, as you know, we are going through the construction at the Early Learning Center, and that construction should end before the end of the summer. And so we're looking to purchase new furniture for all of the classrooms.
Yes, ma'am. She's gonna present you information, but we have, went out and seek the, other quotes to, furnish, the classrooms. We be excited that because up until just recently, we thought we were gonna have to, put into our beautiful new facilities, some of the old stuff that we have, and hopefully, looks like we're gonna get new furniture, and that's gonna be a whole lot better for what we're doing, because the place, as you pass and see, and those of you that hadn't had the blessing of going inside, is really, really gonna be nice, and this is gonna be an additive to have that new furniture in there. We have the 3 quotes, and gonna decide on 3 quotes, which direction that we're going in at this point. But we need to get it approved tonight, so that we can get that done in the next 30 days. And hopefully we'll take delivery mid-July. We are hoping that we will have the whole facility turned over to us mid-part of July. We're supposed to get the classrooms in about a week, and they said the 24th. They kind of fudging on that date a little bit. So, but late that next week, we're supposed to get the classroom building, so we have to prepare the wax and to move our stuff in, because we have a lot of stuff in Miss Tracy's way in her cafeteria. And we were trying to move it back in the cafeteria so we can get her cafeteria wax and her new stuff in her cafeteria. So we're trying to work. We have an action-packed July that we're hoping that we can get this transition done. We're going to get it done. It's going to be tough, but we're going to get it done.
So other 3 quotes, Ms. Singleton, I know you did these packets. You have School Outfitters, we have Lakeshore,
And we have the high touch.
and High Touch. So out of the 3, which one came in?
It would be Lakeshore. Lakeshore is the only one of the 3 companies that will come and set everything up. The others, they'll send as needed. You have to have hands on deck to set everything up. Lakeshore's was the most reasonable cost per room. Because when Ms. Jackson was looking at what she wanted in each room, 1st and 2nd grade rooms, it's the same cost per room, because they would look the exact same. Pre-K is a little, pre-K's is more per classroom, but less furniture. And that, we were also looking at LA4 funding to subsidize some of that cost. And then kindergarten is a separate price, but Lakeshore was the only company that was flexible with what we were looking for by grade level. We had to kind of piece it together from School Outfitters and High Touch.
So will Lakeshore be able to come in and install?
They,
prior to
that, theirs is,
starting?
all of that is included in their quote. They do, installation, they bring it and install it.
When we need them to do the installation? I mean, will they be available,
Yes,
is my concern.
yes, ma'am.
Well, that's the
Being ready
plan.
before school.
That's why we kind of have to
That's
move
why we
now.
do
Yeah, okay.
So of the 3 quotes, we're recommending Lakeshore. It is the most reasonably priced, along with the fact that they will install. So we're making a recommendation for Lakeshore at this time.
So is that Lake Shore, that's 500? Is that the?
Yes, ma'am. In your package, you'll see it, for Lakeshore, you, on your last page, you have the total in your Lakeshore page.
Is that the 500,000?
Yes, ma'am. And it includes the white glove service. And the white glove service is them coming in, servicing, putting everything together and putting them in the rooms. 500,000.
That would also be if we were to do the outside classroom furniture and the intervention. The classrooms themselves, the total is about 300,000. Because the outside classroom, the outside furniture is more costly, as well as the intervention, those additional
It includes
rooms on the, in the building.
2 intervention rooms. One is 12,000, one is 13,000. The computer lab is 20,000, and an office space is $4,193. So that's $500,000.
And School Outfitters?
This is Lakeshore,
I know, I'm saying the price for School Outfitters? It's,
more than 500.
okay,
Yes, ma'am, it's over 500,000.
okay.
So at this time, I'm going to request that we just look at the prices or the costs just for outfitting the classrooms right now. The outdoor spaces, I think that, we can kind of, not have to rush on that, but definitely want to get the classroom spaces outfitted. And that would come in, from what I'm seeing, a total cost of $206,000.
And from School Outfitters, just for the classroom, with, if we wanted them to install, it would be $315,000.
Which is why I'm making a recommendation to go with Lakeshore. So at this time, I'm making a recommendation to go with Lakeshore to outfit the classrooms at this time.
I also move that we select Lakeshore.
I second.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yeah.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
3-0, motion carried, refer to the full board to vote.
Thank you.
This concludes the Budget Finance Committee.
Policy Committee will come to order.
Mr. Alton Travis,
Absent.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Present.
Mr. George Hughes,
Absent.
Dr. Kelly Joseph.
Here.
Okay, I will serve as the chair, then we have Ms. Lolita to fill in. First item, receive and consider for approve revised policy JGCF, behavior health support for students, to JGCFA, behavior service for student, and new policy JGCF, behavior health support for students.
Right, so this is Act 324, Students with Behavioral or Emotional Challenges and Referral for Assessment and Treatment of Reporting. So this act requires that not later than 30 days prior to the beginning of the 24-25 school year, that school boards adopt rules and regulations and implement a program to assist school personnel in identifying signs and symptoms of a learner with behavioral or emotional challenges that may cause the student to be at risk of their behavior escalating into aggression or disruption, disciplinary actions, including suspensions or expulsions, or juvenile delinquency. It also requires that we designate a specific employee at each school who shall be responsible for identifying behavioral and mental health support services available in the community, and when appropriate, facilitating a referral to those services for assessment and treatment, including services provided through the Louisiana Coordinated System of Care and its Medicaid provider network. So this act, is an act that will require us to provide supports to our kids rather than always, recommending them for expulsion or suspension or some type of punitive action, that we take a look at the child and determine if there's some type of mental health services that can be provided for this child. So this is an act that came from the legislature, and I'm requesting that we approve this policy and put it in our policy manual.
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Porter,
Second.
motion by Ms. Joyce Porter, second by Ms. Lolita Porter.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried.
Next item, receive and consider for approval renewal policy updating service with highlight options through Forethoughts Consulting Incorporation, effective July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Yeah, so this is just a renewal of the contract with Forethought. As you all know, their services are to update our policies from year to year. So I'm asking for approval to allow us to go forward with the contract with Forethought Consulting, effective July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Can I get a motion?
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. No questions, vote?
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried.
Next item, receive and consider for approval selection of the official journal of the St. Helena Parish School Board for the period beginning July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Good evening, Board. We are again recommending that we continue with the Advocate, and again, this is due to the circulation dates, printing dates. The Advocate prints every day, well, electronically, the Daily Star doesn't. So we're again recommending the Advocate.
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. No questions, vote?
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried. Refer to the full board to vote.
All right, this concludes the policy committee meeting. Building and Ground Committee meeting will come to order. Roll call,
Mr. Alton Travis,
absent,
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Here.
Mr. George Hughes,
absent.
Dr. Kelly Joseph,
Here.
Mr. Edward Galman,
Here.
I will serve as the chair. Ms. Lolita will fill in for George. First item, receive and consider for approval preventive maintenance agreement with Sharkin Mechanical Service LLC for the period July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025.
I'm recommending to the full board that we continue with Sharkey. They've been here to the extent of I've been here for the last 3 years, and they've done a wonderful job for us. They came in and did an assessment on the ELC, which we have all new units going in that building. That was the driving force of the COVID monies being able to be used for that project, because the fresh air exchange was one of the issues that we was addressing, and now we have more than recommended by the code changes of air in those classroom buildings. So we're happy about that. But they came in and assessed those units and added that to their operation price, and basically stayed basically flat. We will have some increases because there are a number of units that we did not have. Now we have fresh air on each of those halls, and we have a mini split in every classroom. So that kind of bumps up the amount of filters, the amount of service that'll be done at that site. But the beautiful thing about it is that you got some life out of having all new facilities. The gym is going to be air conditioned, and the new administration building, and so we'll experience something quite comfortable for a while without the needed maintenance at that site. So therefore, we recommend that we continue with Sharkey Mechanical Services.
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. Questions? Vote?
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried, refers to the full board to vote.
Receive and consider for approval request to repair floors at Shada South Hall.
We have for the if you noticed that when we did the improvements on the Shadow site, that the building adjacent to the highway, which we call the South Hall, was the only building that was left out of that construction. They only did the I would say committee room or special needs room that was across from the other building, and put a door there and created that space because they had to do that to meet code recommendation to have where there's an exit there, because every child needs to be less than 200 feet from a door, not to have sprinklers in the building. So that was the only piece they did on that building. Meanwhile, the floors, if you notice, the tile is been cracking, and there's been some issues ongoing with that building. And this is an opportunity to address that and bring that building up to par. The only thing that will be left at that point, is I have to apologize. We're still working on getting FEMA to obligate the funds for the windows on that site, and some of the things that we're working on, the engineer report, those things are kind of, we have one engineer report in that FEMA was not satisfied with, so we're dancing trying to meet their standards, so we're not there yet. But at this point, we want to request that those floors be repaired at that South Hall, and that's going to put us in a better position. And once we get the windows, we'll have that building, it will be totally up to par. So we're hoping for those floors to be done this summer. So we want to get it approved now, so by school start, we'll have the floors and together in that building.
And you're working with FEMA, you said, to get the window.
Well, working with FEMA with the windows, we at this point, FEMA is screaming that they only want to pay for one side of the building, and they want to just pay for the glass. But we're going to continue to bend their arm.
Yeah, just be patient.
Yeah, we can continue to bend their arm. We've been working with this thing for 3 years. No sense to get off track now. We're going to continue to bend their arm. I see a change coming. If you'll notice, last month we had a little news article. Dr. Joseph and I was interviewed by a couple of the news people, because our congressman Gary Grave jumped in and says, just because some money was being released, jumped in and said, hey, look, we got this money coming. Everybody's about to get relief, so we're going to use that as some juice to push them to go ahead on and fund these projects. The state has a lot of money that's at the door that is available for what they're calling shovel-ready projects. This is a shovel-ready project. We may not meet all the standards by the whole building, but it is a shovel-ready project, and I'm just insisting that they not come there and try and put windows in half of this building. They need to pay for this whole building. So we're going to get it done. So, but right now we want to get those floors approved.
Also move.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. No questions, vote.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried, refer to the full board to vote.
Next item, approved quote for repaving parking lot at central office location.
Yes, as you can see, we are doing a lot of work here at central office with the roof, and I'll have Mr. Gallman speak to that. But what we want to do is also repave the parking lot, and we did receive quotes. One quote came in at $26,500 from Harry Stanley Asphalt Paving, and then we have a second quote for $54,850 from Epic Paving LLC. And I think that it is clear which company we'd like to go with, and that is Harry Stanley Asphalt Paving for $26,500. So I'm asking for approval that we move forward with the work to improve our parking at central office with Harry Stanley Asphalt Paving.
Also move.
Motion by Ms. Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. No question? Vote.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried, refer to the full board to vote.
All right, this concludes the Building and Ground Committee. And we have an item on the Education Committee that we'll table to a later date. So there's no need for the Education Committee. We're gonna move right along. Mr. Gallman, can you lead us in prayer?
Lord, once again, we come together here at St. Helena Parish to do this, the business for the children of this parish, Lord. Lord, give us the mindset to keep you first in all of our decisions, Lord. Lord, keep our mind focused on the ultimate goal to make it better for the learners of St. Helena Parish. Lord, give us grace as we travel from this place. And Lord, once again, we want to always keep everything that we do, keep you at the forefront of our decision making. We reference you this evening. These things we ask in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Before we start with the pledge, I have a public hearing on an adoption of a millage rate. You can have a seat. And rolling forward millage rates not exceeding the maximum authorized rates.
You gonna do this, please?
Be it resolved by the superintendent of the parish of St. Helena, Louisiana, in a public meeting held on June 13, 2024, which meeting was conducted in accordance with the open meeting law and the additional requirements of Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47, 1705B, that the following adjusted millage.
Is that the resolutions that you're reading? No, right now you just want to have a hearing in the public, if they want to come in, then those will be read.
Down later?
Yes, sir. Under new business.
All right, so anybody want to comment on the adoption of the millage rate and rolling forward the millage rate not exceeding the maximum authorized rate? Anyone? No? All right, let's close the public meeting. All right, now, stand for the pledge.
You stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the St. Helena Parish School Board. Roll call.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Present.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Present.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Present.
Mr. George Hughes,
Absent.
Ms. Virginia Bell,
Present.
Mr. Alton Travis,
Absent.
appointment staff, board members present. Board president, appointment staff.
Item C, approve minutes and agenda, May 9th, 2024, committee meetings, May 9th, 2024, regular board meeting, and the current agenda. Can I get a motion to approve these collectively?
I so move that we approve these collectively.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter that we approve these collections. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second
I'll
by,
second.
second by Ms. Virginia Bell. Any questions? No questions? Should pass by general consent. New business, adopt the 2024 adjusted millage rate. So now,
Each resolution is for.
set forth the adjusted millage rate and roll forward to the millage rate not exceeding the maximum authorized rate.
You have to read all three of them. 1, 2, 3.
All right, resolution number 1, be it resolved.
You got one that just say resolution? You should
This
have
this
three.
says resolution number 1, this says resolution number 2.
You should have one that just say resolution.
And this must be just the
That one is
resolution.
first, and then you go
Okay.
resolution 1 and resolution 2.
All right, resolution. Be it resolved that the following millage are hereby levied on the 2024 tax roll on all properties subject to taxation by St. Helena Parish School District. School District Parish wide, 1063048, 16.40 mil. School District, 1063021, 9.48 mils. School District Bond, 1063047, 10.250 mils. Be it further resolved that the proper administrative officials of the St. Helena Parish, State of Louisiana, be and they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as here and above set forth upon the assessment roll of said parish for the year 2024, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law, and that the taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all property subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by law. The foregoing resolution was read in full, and the roll was called on adoption thereof, and the resolution was adopted by the following vote. Roll call vote.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yeah.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. George Hughes,
Absent?
Ms. Virginia Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Alton Travis,
Absent.
resolution adopted.
I certify that the foregoing is true, and exact copy of the resolution adopted at the board meeting held on June 13, 2024, at which meeting is a quorum was present and voting. Greensboro, Louisiana, this 13th day of June, 2024. Next item is to adopt authorized millage or taxes. No, to set forth the adjusted millage rate and roll forward a millage rate not exceeding the maximum authorized rate. So be it resolved by the superintendent of the parish of St. Helena, Louisiana, and the public meeting held on June 13, 2024, which meeting was conducted in accordance with the open meeting law and the additional requirements of Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47-1705B, that the following adjusted millage rate be, and they are hereby levied upon the dollar of the assessed valuation of all properties subject to ad valorem taxation within said parish for the year 2024 for the purpose of raising revenues. School District Parish wide, 1063031, 4.940 mils. School District Parish wide, 1063020, 3.340 mils. Be it further resolved that the assessor of the parish of St. Helena shall extend upon the assessment roll for the year 2024. The taxes herein levied, and the tax collector of said parish shall collect and remit the same to said taxing authority in accordance with law. The foregoing resolution was read in full, the roll was called, and the adoption thereof, and the resolution was adopted by the following vote. Roll call.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. George Hughes,
Absent.
Ms. Virginia Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Alton Travis,
Absent.
resolution adopted.
I hereby certify that the foregoing is true, and an exact copy of the resolution adopted at the board meeting held June 13, 2024, at which meeting a quorum was present and voting. Greensboro, Louisiana, 13th day of June, 2024. Next item, adopt other authorized millages or taxes. Be resolved by the superintendent of the Parish of St. Helena, Louisiana, in a public meeting held on June 13, 2024, which meeting was conducted in accordance with the open meeting law and the additional requirements of Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution, RS 47, 1705, B, that the taxing district voted to increase millage rate but not in excess of the prior year's maximum rate on all taxable property shown on the official assessment roll for the year 2024. And when collected, the revenues from said taxes shall be used only for the specific purposes for which said taxes have been levied. Said millage rates are: school district parish-wide 1063031 4.94 mills is adjusted rate, and 2024 levy is 5.00 mills. School district parish-wide 1033020, the adjusted rate is 3.340 mills. The levy rate is 3.380 mills. Be it further resolved that the assessor of the parish of St. Helena shall extend upon assessment roll for the year 2024 the taxes herein levied, and the tax collected of said parish shall collect and remit the same to said taxing authority in accordance with law. The foregoing resolution was read in full, the roll was called on the adoption thereof, and the resolution was adopted by no less than 2/3 of the total members of the taxing authority voting in favor as required by Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47, 1705B. The votes were, roll call.
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. George Hughes,
Absent.
Ms. Virginia Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Alton Travis,
Absent.
resolution adopted.
I hereby certify the foregoing is true. An exact copy of the resolution adopted at the board meeting held on June 13, 2024, at which meeting a quorum was present and voting. Greensboro, Louisiana, the 13th day of June, 2024. Next item, presentation of the diploma to Donald Zeno.
Dr. Joseph and our esteemed guests, as principal of St. Helena College and Career Academy, I count it as a high distinction to be charged with the duty that falls on me today. Dr. Joseph, I present to you one candidate to be given their high school diploma. This student has met all requirements set forth by the Louisiana Department of Education, St. Helena Parish School District, and St. Helena College and Career Academy.
At this time, you may turn your tassel. At this time, we'd just like to congratulate Mr. Zeno on his graduation and also his family and his friends who are here to celebrate in this very special occasion. He has worked really hard to get his diploma, and we are very proud of him and wanted to give him the experience of actual completion and actual graduation. So congratulations. Ms. Miles, come up, Ms. Miles.
I would like to say thank you so much for allowing him to walk across this podium. All these are my babies. His mother is here. I'm not looking over her, but those are my babies. And I have scribed and pushed so hard, and he wanted to give up, but I told him, you're not going to give up.
That's right.
We're going to get that diploma. And I thank God that on that day he passed that test, and that was a beautiful call. I didn't birth him here, but that was a wonderful call to get. So thank you so much, and I'm so proud of him.
Yes.
Mom, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm very grateful, very thankful for everything that everyone has done. Special thanks and gratitude go out to this foster parent here. You know, God give you children that's not your own. So I have plenty to share. Anybody want to know? But I really do. I thank everyone. And more importantly, I thank Donald. Because like she said, he wanted to give up. And I told him, you know, I support you no matter what you do. Has to be your decision. Now, what I wish is one thing, but what you do is something else. And when he told me what he was going to do, you just don't know the joy. But, you know, to have your children complete the things that they're set out to start. So I thank you, Donald. Thank you, Buffy. And thank you, St. Helena Parish School Board.
Congratulations again, Mr. Zeno.
All right, delayed but not denied. What a blessing. All right, next item, approve 2024-2025 operating budgets.
Good evening, everyone. We went over this earlier in your finance committee meeting. Really no significant changes to the audience, so with that, I'll just make an even quicker summary. What you have in front of you is a detailed budget along with the resolution that would amend both your 2023-2024 fiscal year budget and adopt your original budget for fiscal year 2025. You're well within the timeline. You're required to adopt it by September 30th of this year. And essentially, quick high level, from a general fund standpoint is what I'll focus on. What you're looking at for fiscal year end 2024, operating revenues just under 10.4 million, operating expenses just over 9.7 million, for a surplus of 600,000. Again, a lot of that is driven by the indirect cost transfers you're getting from some of the COVID grants of about 400,000. So if you back that out, you're at about a $200,000 surplus operationally. For the next fiscal year, very similar, $185,000 operating surplus, some capital outlay and transfers in from other indirect grant funds, and then the capital outlay expenditures of approximately 1.3 million for a reduction in fund balance of 1.1 million, but still projecting a general fund ending fund balance for next fiscal year of over 6.7 million, which is a very healthy fund balance and well within the Department of Education's requirements. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time. Thank you. And I think this is for a vote tonight, if I'm not mistaken, and the resolution is also in that bound budget package for you all to execute. Thank you.
Can I get a motion?
That's so moved.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. No question?
Ms. Joyce Porter,
Yes.
Ms. Lolita Porter, Ms. Linda Cheney,
Yes.
Ms. Virginia Bell,
Yes.
3-0 motion carried, refer to the full board. 4-0 motion carried, refer to the full board.
All right, next item, introduction of Dr. Gray Hayes, the newly appointed chair of the LSU Ag Center. Is Dr. Sheridan Schaefer here? Okay. No principal?
We do have one principal, Ms. Strickland.
Hello. All right, so we are going to be looking at some data tonight, and I made a PowerPoint for it. We're going to be comparing the LEAP 2025 for the high school from 2023, 22 to 23 to this school year. I did it by grade. So the first, or subject, first is English 1. This was overall, we increased the percent of learners that were scoring mastery and base mastery. We went from having 1% to 7% of our learners who were scoring mastery. So we definitely saw an increase with this particular subject. English 2 was a decrease. English 2 did not have a teacher, well, they had a teacher on proximity, but not an in-person teacher. So we went down from 7% having mastery to 4%. So that is a concern. We will have a live teacher for this subject in the fall. They have already been hired. Algebra 1 is another decrease. We went from 4% mastery to 1% mastery. We will be working with this teacher. They had a certified teacher all year. We will be working with her this coming school year to increase her capacity, to hopefully increase the scores. Geometry was another decrease. They had a change of teachers twice. It went from 3% mastery to 2%. So we'll be working with our new one to hopefully increase these scores next year. Biology, we had an increase in mastery from 1% to 2%. Basic went up from 13 to 22. Approaching basic went down from 27 to 24. And unsat in biology went from 58% unsat to down to 53% unsat. So overall, biology did grow this year in their scores. We're hoping to see more growth next year. U.S. history, I have it going down. We had 1% mastery last year. We did not have any masteries this year. Basic, however, rose from 8% to 15%. Approaching basic went from 9% to 30%. And the significant part I was proud of was that they were at 81% unsat last year, and we were at 54% unsat this year. So we did lower the number of learners who scored unsat this year. And then we're going to talk about our 8th grade Algebra 1 and English 1 because those scores, of course, come in. For Algebra 1, we had 1 mastery and 3 basic. And for English 1, we have 4 masteries and 10 basics. Those will be banked and count when those learners are 9th grade next year. Those learners will start taking geometry and English to their 9th grade year rather than Algebra 1 and English 1. But their scores, we don't get to count them on this year's SPS. They will count on next year's SPS. They go with the learners when they should take it. So our new 9th graders have some work to do, but I know they're up to the challenge of that. Do y'all have any questions about any of the data?
I want to take this time just to remind everyone that the accountability system will change again, where the levels for mastery and advanced will only be the ones counted, and that's going to be considered proficiency or proficient. So anything below that will not be counted. There will have to be, growth shown from one year to the next for all of the kids that are right now in those categories of basic, approaching basic, and unsatisfactory. We do have systems in place in our pupil progression plan to address learners who do fail the LEAP test, and we have to really stress to our parents the importance of their children passing the test. And failure to pass the test will result in them being retained. Of course, there will be stipulations, a part of that, dealing with the fact that, we lose, well, a lot of times, we lose teachers throughout the school year. We will put that into account, but at the end of the day, we need for our kids to pass the test. And a lot of our kids do not take the test seriously. A lot of our families, I feel, don't understand the weight and the significance of how passing the test impacts, our school district. And so now moving forward, because of this new accountability system and the other things that have been put into play, it is important that everyone supports the school system, support what needs to happen in the classroom, and take these tests seriously. So I just want to bring that to your attention. Thank you, Ms. Strickland. We will not have a report from Ms. Jackson from the Early Learning Center, nor from Mr. McPherson with the Arts and Technology Academy. Well, good evening, community. Good evening, board members. I just have a few announcements that I'd like to share with you all. First, we had our annual Leadership Summit and Board Retreat, June 9th through 11th at LSU Lockwood Conference Center, where we discussed various topics centered around systems, structures, processes, and outcomes for our learners. We had sessions about leadership, artificial intelligence, academic return on investment, and ways to attract and retain teachers given the current climate we face in education today. In addition, we will develop a policy along with procedures to coordinate communication between board members, their constituents, myself, and staff to quickly address questions and concerns that they may have. And this information will be presented to the board each quarter. We will also present a quarterly report regarding the progress of the goals within our Blueprint to Excellence, which is our strategic plan for the district. The BGA Stop School Violence Grant application process is coming to an end, and we expect for it to be submitted Tuesday of next week. It is a competitive grant, and we're fortunate to have a grant writer at no charge to the district to support this effort. We'd like to thank Southeast Community Health Systems for supporting us by assisting with finding a social worker to help provide services to our learners. And some other services that will be provided in this grant are as follows: AI technology to support individual learners with mental health needs, conflict resolution training for our learners and our teachers, mental health crisis awareness training for all adults and law enforcement in the community, and a social worker to provide direct and coordinated mental health services to our identified learners. So we're very excited about the completion of the application process and look forward to receiving some good news in the coming weeks. Within a week, our district website will get another upgrade. The features and displays will be more attractive and meaningful content for our parents and community to review. We are halfway through our summer programs for the month of June. So far, everything has been running smoothly. The Print of Future Camp, sponsored by North Shore STEM, they went on a field trip today to Southeastern and North Shore in Lacombe to learn about STEM-related career opportunities in the field. We have 30 seats that were available, but unfortunately, we only had 11 kids to sign up for the camp. So they are taking full advantage of the activities and events planned for them. The state mandated summer school for third and fourth graders, that's based on literacy scores, and the summer remediation for kids up to 8th grade is in full swing. The total of eligible learners to participate in these programs was 205. For our kindergarten and first grade, we do have a remediation program for them. 67 learners were invited to participate, and on average, we have about 35 of our learners to participate each day. We also have our Summer Virtual Academy, and at this time, I'll yield to Ms. Brown to tell you about the numbers for our program.
So good evening, board. For this year, for our Summer Virtual Academy, we had 195 participants, and that was 336 enrollments.
And we also had a participating number of 15 districts. So there were 14 other districts that participated with our summer virtual academy program. Last school year, we had 206 participants, and that was at 238 enrollments with 21 schools participating.
So we saw an increase in our enrollment in the courses this summer. So we're excited about that. Also, our band camp will start this Monday. And then we also had Flying Ghost Productions. They hosted a camp for kids that were interested in video production. The 8 seniors that are supposed to take the LEAP test this summer should be completing their 30 hours of remediation. They will also have a boot camp to further prepare them for the test. And we will have a summer graduation once those tests become available. And my last announcement, the work at the ELC, the gym floors at the high school, and the roof work here at central office are all progressing. Everything should be finished before the end of the summer. And there are other major maintenance work that's slated to get done, which is a part of the reason why, we talked about the budget earlier, that, some more funding was gonna go into that construction grant, because we needed to take care of the floors at the A&T, the roof addition, the central office parking lot, some band equipment, the pocket park installation, and the reinstallation of the technology at the Early Learning Center. So those are just a few of the things that we do need to get done over the summer months so that we can be fully prepared and ready to go for the start of the school year. And with that concludes my report.
All right. Item G, approved committee reports from June 13, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve those collectively?
I so move.
Motion by Ms. Joyce Porter,
Second.
second by Ms. Lolita Porter. No questions, should pass by general consent. The next meeting date will be July the 11th, 2024. Central Office, 5:45 committee meeting, 6 o'clock regular board meeting. Closing comment, board members in? All right, that last motion, this meeting is adjourned.